Okay. Shalom, shalom. We're live. Um, a quick thing I forgot to mention. I mentioned about the second Eve failing. Um, and I'm sure somebody probably wondering what does she mean by that? I forgot to mention that um, the just like the first Adam, he was put into a deep sleep. Yep, had him put him into a deep sleep, and he took out Hawa out of his side. Likewise, when Yeshua was put into a deep sleep, when he died on the pole, okay, um, the cross, when he died and they pierced his side, his Hawa, okay, came out from him. Now remember, given that Yeshua is the life-giving spirit from heaven, from Shemayim, so likewise, a bone didn't come out of Yeshua, but rather water came out from him. Okay, remember it said that when I think the centurion pierces his side, one of the guards pierces his side, that blood and water came out. We know that in his blood cleanses us from all sin because that was part of the lamb sacrifice, sinless blood to cleanse us from our sins. But the water, much is not mentioned about the water. That water was the spirit of his bride, the spirit of his Hawa, okay, coming out from him. Now, when that water, because water represents spirit in Ibri, when you see the mem, it usually represents spirit. When the water came out from his side, where did it land? It landed on the accursed ground. So, when you take water that represents spirit, and you take dust, okay, that represents, fallen man, you put them together and you form a woman, right? Just like Adam, I mean, just like Yah, took um, water and sorry, I'm still like, just like Yah took water and dust to create Adam. So the water, the spirit that came out from Yeshua on the pole, on the cross, hits the accursed ground, and from there is formed eventually his Hawa. But unfortunately, but the blood still has to be applied, okay, to make Hawa, the second Hawa, sinless. Because when the spirit of the bride hits the ground and you mix accursed ground with a spirit, that person becomes accursed, okay, becomes one with sin. All right. So that's what happened in that case. And so, um, unfortunately, that meant that the second Hawa, when the second Hawa would come forth into the world at the time of, before Yeshua's kingdom comes, okay, before he receives his queen, that she would be born in sin, okay, because of being mixed, because of her spirit being mixed with the accursed ground. She would be prone to sin. That's why he knew he had to atone not only for the world and for Israel, but also for his second Eve, his second Hawa. So therefore, what we have from there is that the blood still has to be applied to make her sinless, to make her white as snow, okay, to help her to walk in righteousness. Okay, so that's where the explanation comes from in terms of, if anybody has any questions, like where you mentioned about the second Hawa failed. Well, once the spirit of his his sister bride hit that ground, the formation of his bride would be one who bears sin and would still need the blood applied to her to redeem her as well when he comes to establish his kingdom. So I hope that clarifies that part of the video that I just did as to why I said the second Hawa, the second Eve, failed, and that he knew he would have to redeem her prior to that happening, okay? Unlike what happened to the first Adam and the first Eve, the first Hawa, okay? So I hope that clarifies some things if anybody has any questions as to why I said what I said in the previous video. Okay? And with that, I say shalom.